Più. Oh, que Sipatimo, you are sacred and you are holy. I call upon you to bless my family, my children, my nidaka, all my many relatives. Oh, yeah.
Two-Spirit is an honor. I think of being Two-Spirit as being a person that was created this way by the Great Spirit. I walk in two different worlds and I serve as a mediator between the genders.
Being Two-Spirit to me is very sacred. It means that we have a responsibility to our people.
Being a Two-Spirit person means you're taking on a role or responsibility to your people. The Two-Spirit people were caretakers, they were historians, they were healers. We make the medicines, we sing the songs.
Two-Spirit means to me I can be myself.
Two-Spirit actually is a modern term, and it was created in 1990 when they had the first International Two-Spirited Retreat. And the reason the international group came up with it to give us a name that we can be proud of, that encompasses so much about who we are as GBLT people.
Every tribe has two-spirited people, and they all have different names in their own language, but they're starting to remember what those people did for the tribe.
Many cultures have incorporated, the same concept and the idea of Two-Spirit. Part of what being Two-Spirit is restoring traditions and bringing them back to the way it was, hundreds of years ago.
Colonization affected a lot of our social roles. All the ceremonies, regardless of whether they were done by women or our elders or our medicine people or our Two-Spirit people, all those were said to be of the devil. I believe that we have to take our ceremonies back on.
What we're trying to do is to reclaim that position that we traditionally had many, many years ago.
There was a circle, and we were part of that circle. And that circle is very precious and sacred to us as Native people. And we were taken out of that circle, so that circle is not complete.
My name is David Herrera, and my Indian name is White Eagle Tail Feather, which was given to me by Matt DeRouche, who's our spiritual leader. And I am a board member for the Montana Two-Spirit Society and have been one of the founding organizers for the Montana Two-Spirit gatherings, which we've been doing for about 13 years.
David Herrera was very instrumental in getting these groups going. If he didn't do that here in Montana, where would a lot of our Two-Spirit people be today?
I was late in my 20s when I picked up this journey, and it actually saved my life. I had a bout with both drugs and alcohol, and I turned to ceremony, and I turned to the Native way.
I just remember how I struggled with my workplace and some of my family members that didn't accept me, and how suicidal I was at that age. And when the young people come here, it's like, it's okay for me to be who I am.
We get people at these gatherings that come in and they were talking about, not long ago I was going to commit suicide, and then I ended up at one of these gatherings and it totally changed my life.
I have thought before that maybe God might be forsaking me. I've always known that I was different. When I was 3 years old, I remember telling my mom that when I grew up, I wanted to be a priest. And she turned to me and she said, only boys can be priests. And I told her, I know.
Living as a Two-Spirit, having been born female and now living as a man, I really walk the world of both genders.
I basically made myself a promise that I would hang on until the Tulsa Two-Spirit gathering, see what it was about, and if I found what I needed there, then I would keep on going, and if not, I had planned on afterwards just killing myself.
I can sit down and speak with the young people and hopefully nurture them in their experiences and reaffirm that they're on a good road.
Seeing an older female to male who had been on testosterone for a long time really gave me hope that I could have a future, especially in the Two-Spirit Society.
When I went to my first Two-Spirit gathering, it was completely liberating because I knew that I could be gay and be Indian. I didn't have to choose between the two.
coming to a Two-Spirit event means a lot to me, where I can tell my story and put a face of HIV/AIDS, that, you know, I am a Native American, and it is in our community.
Growing up, hearing people call people fags and pansies and things like that, because that was such a negative thing to hear, I just assumed it would make me a bad person. It was an ugly thing.
I think a lot of things about the gathering is the healing nature of them, and because there's a lot of trauma that we face as Two-Spirit people, and the homophobia, you know, the racism, you know, that is still very much a part of our society.
I come to these gatherings to feel safe amongst other Two-Spirits who believe that it is my right to be who I am.
It's a family. It's a safe place for us to be without having to worry about being judged.
These gatherings help me come to that point where I'm not embarrassed about wearing my jewelries every day. I'm not embarrassed about wearing my chichis every day. I'm not embarrassed about wearing my makeup. I go out comfortable.
Many of us lose our families when we come out as Two-Spirit, and so this is a place to have those family relationships renewed and fulfilled. There's an amazing amount of healing and love and fellowship and family and fun. There's a lot of laughter.
We laugh and we sing and we drum and we tell stories just like you would in any, you know, important family.
In Native tradition, laughter plays a big part in the healing. My role is giving them the gift of laughter and sharing wisdom through laughter.
It's really important that these gatherings take place because our youth, you know, really need to see and learn about a culture that has been wiped out and eliminated for most part.
Our youth don't have a sense of belonging. They feel they're not welcome in their own communities, among their families, and in the gay community. When we get them to come to our gatherings and stuff, and they see what our gatherings are, and that they did have a place in our history, and that was part of our culture, they have more of a sense of belonging, of who they really are, and it really instills pride in them.
I would just want the youth to know that this is the place to come to learn those traditions and to learn that history and to be around other Two-Spirit people who are living happily and successfully.
I look at the young ones, or the ones who are lost, or the ones who are just finding their identity, and I say, well, you know, I went through that, I experienced that. I never say to them that this was an experience that I understand, but I share with them my own experience in coming out, of feeling whole again, of feeling part of a community.
I come here so that the children yet to come have a safe space to come to and a history of this way of living.
Before the retreats, I always go into prayer and pipe ceremony, and I pray. And I always ask the old ones where our work is needed. And it's in the youth now.
I know that I can have an impact on other people's lives, and I really hope that other young people will be able to find their spiritual path.
I hate to see young people being abused because of who they want to be.
I think the word to get out to other young people and people that are questioning their sexuality, that there's a place for them, you know, and they don't have to hide.
Really, what we're there for is our youth, our elders, and our Two-Spirit people, to make sure they're safe and educated and know their culture. We're not there to judge anybody, we're there to help them.
If you're Two-Spirit and you're scared or afraid or don't know who to talk to or come to, I think it's very important to contact the Two-Spirit Society. There's no reason to be afraid. You're going to always have family and support and people that love you for who you are.
You don't have to hate yourself anymore. You don't have to choose between being Indian and being gay.
Who's going to step in and take over when we're not here? We cannot let it die.
We're making sure that people know that we're here and that we are a Two-Spirit Society and that it was in our cultures and that it was taken away from us.
I see the movement of the Two-Spirit Societies across the country, and that just makes my heart happy, because it means that that's going to be the survival of our people, that's going to be the survival of our culture, and the continuation of a tradition that is so steeped in beauty. It's unbelievable.
When the Two-Spirit community was presented with this idea of a video documentary being done on our community and our gatherings, there was definitely some mixed feelings. There was fear that there would have been exploitation of what was going on here. And the other piece of the debate that was happening was that we felt it was really necessary that our story get out there in a positive way, in a way that said, this is us telling you who we are. We looked to some of our elders and asked them whether or not this was appropriate, and the message that came back was that it was, that there was that it was really important for our story to be told. For all those young people out there that are wondering whether or not they have a place, this film is our story to you.